We live our lives assuming a basic, unspoken rule. The people we know and love are actually who they appear to be. When a spouse or child walks into the room, you don't consciously verify their identity. But a rare condition called Capgras Delusion tears up this contract completely. It's a misidentification syndrome where that immediate, automatic recognition fails. A person with Capgras looks directly at their husband, their wife, or their parent and feels absolute, unshakable certainty that they have been replaced by an identical imposter. To the patient, this double is rarely perceived as a friendly clone. They see a malicious entity, a stranger who has stolen their loved one's life and is now wearing them like a flesh suit. The terrifying part is that these patients are often completely lucid. They can engage in complex thought, perform their jobs, and even acknowledge how absurd their claims sound to everyone else. Capgras represents a terrifyingly specific mechanical failure, a glitch in the brain's recognition hardware that leaves the rest of the mind untouched. This schematic shows the brain's dual pathway model for facial recognition. Successfully identifying a loved one requires two distinct neural circuits working in perfect harmony. The first is the ventral stream. This is the conscious analytical center. It maps the physical geometry of the face, the distance between the eyes, the shape of the jaw, and matches it to a stored memory profile. It acts as the brain's ID card reader. The second circuit is the covert affective stream. This much older, deeper pathway bypasses conscious analysis entirely. It routes the visual signals straight to the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, offering a physiological handshake. 19th century psychologists like William James recognized this autonomic emotional response. They described it as a subtle, automatic glow. Later thinkers, including Bertrand Russell, noted how this very specific emotional signature forms the foundation for our sense of attachment. It is the metric that separates the people we care about from anonymous biological data. In a patient with Capgras, a microscopic lesion, a stroke, or the slow erosion of a disease like Lewy body dementia severs this second, affective pathway. The signal never reaches the amygdala. We can measure this missing signal using a skin conductance response test, which tracks physiological arousal. Looking at this split-screen visualization, a healthy brain produces a clear spike in electrical conductance when viewing a familiar face. But the Capgras patient's response flatlines. They feel zero emotional arousal. Without that warm autonomic handshake, the conscious visual identification is rejected. The face is geometrically perfect, but it feels hollow and deeply unfamiliar. This creates a massive paradox. If you wake up and feel no emotional connection to your spouse, why wouldn't you just assume you were ill or exhausted or experiencing a neurological deficit? The answer lies in another piece of hardware. This 3D model highlights an area called the right dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or RDLPFC, which acts as the brain's reality monitor. Under normal conditions, this region evaluates our beliefs. It constantly detects anomalies and actively flags implausible hypotheses for rejection. It tells you that people do not suddenly get replaced by exact clones. But a defining feature of Capgras delusion is that this specific reality monitoring region is also damaged or disconnected. The filter drops. The brain is now receiving flawless visual data from the eyes, zero emotional data from the amygdala, and its logic filter is completely offline. Desperate to resolve the conflict, it calculates the only mathematical solution that fits the corrupted data. The person standing in front of you must be a fake. The mind prefers to construct a deeply paranoid conspiracy, rewriting the rules of the universe, rather than accept that its own internal hardware is malfunctioning. For the family of the patient, this leads to a unique, agonizing form of anticipatory mourning. They are forced to watch their own identities be erased from the mind of someone they love, while that person is still physically sitting right in front of them. For the patient, the horror is total. They are isolated in a reality where the universe is hostile, their home is occupied by mimics, and they can no longer trust their own mother or spouse. Currently, there is no way to repair this dual disconnection. Clinicians can only try to manage the intense paranoia and anxiety using antipsychotic medications. The condition exposes a harsh physical truth about our deepest relationships. The bonds we form with one another are highly precarious, electrochemical processes. We are all just one severed wire away from losing the ability to recognize the people we love.